Helvis of Brunswick-Grubenhagen was the Queen Consort of Cyprus and Queen Consort of Armenia as the wife of King James I of Cyprus. He was also titular King of Jersusalem. She was styled Queen of Cyprus from 1382 to 1398, although at the time of his ascension to the Cypriot throne, he and Helvis were imprisoned in Genoa after they had been captured by the Genoese on the island of Rhodes. Almost all of Helvis' 12 children were born to her while she was held prisoner. In 1385, after negotiations and many ruinous concessions to the Genoese, they were released and James was crowned king. In 1393, she became Queen of Armenia. Family. Helvis was born in 1353, the eldest child and only daughter of Duke Philip of Brunswick-Luneburg, Prince of Grubenhagen, Constable of Jerusalem, and Helvis de Dampierre, daughter of Eudes de Dampierre and Isabel de Lusignan. Through both her parents, she was a remote descendant of the celebrated Crusader John of Ibolin, the Old Lord of Beirut. Helvis had a younger brother, John of Brunswick-Grubenhagen, who would later serve as Admiral of Cyprus. In 1368, 9 years after her mother's death, Helvis's father married her own mother-in-law, Alex of Ibolin, the Dowager Queen of Cyprus. A year later, he died. Marriage and imprisonment. On the 1st of May 1365, when she was 12 years old, she married James de Lusignan, the third son of King Hugh IV of Cyprus and Alex of Ibolin, who 3 years later became her stepmother. James was 19 years her senior. As they were cousins, a papal dispensation was required for the marriage. In 1368, he was made Constable of Cyprus, and in the following year became one of the regents for his nephew Peter II after his eldest brother King Peter I had been assassinated by a group of barons led by Philip Ibolin. Philip was the husband of James's niece, Alicia of Majorca. The Queen Mother Eleanor believed James and his brother John had been part of the conspiracy to murder her husband. In 1372, James led a war against the Genoese. However, at its conclusion in 1373, when the Genoese invaded Cyprus, he and Helvis were compelled to flee the kingdom. They went to the island of Rhodes, where her first child, a daughter, was born on an unknown date and died as a baby in 1374. In the same year, James and Helvis were both captured by the Genoese, and taken as hostages to Genoa where they were imprisoned. It was recorded in the Chronicle of Amadi that Helvis was constrained to perform manual work before she joined him in the prison, which was known colloquially as La Malpaga. It was that she gave birth to the first son, Janus, whom she named after the god who had been, according to an ancient legend, the traditional founder of Genoa. 11 other children followed, most of them having been born during her imprisonment. Queen of Cyprus. On the 13th of October 1382, Peter II died and James succeeded as King of Cyprus, although he and Helvis were still being held in captivity. Finally, after much negotiation and many concessions to the Genoese, which would ultimately bring his kingdom to financial ruin, James and Helvis were released from prison and returned to Cyprus. In May 1385, he was crowned king in May 1385 at St. Sophia Cathedral in Nicosia. Their eldest son, Janus, was left behind in Genoa as a hostage. In 1389, James was crowned titular King of Jerusalem, and on the 29th of November 1393, upon the death of King Leo V of Armenia, he assumed the title of King of Armenia. He was not proclaimed King of Armenia until 1396 in the Cathedral of Holy Wisdom in Nicosia. For the time of her husband's accession to both thrones, Helvis was styled as Queen of Cyprus and Queen of Armenia, until James's death on the 9th of September 1398. He was succeeded by their eldest son, Janus. Helvis died on 15 January 1421, and was buried in St. Dominic's, Nicosia. Issue: unnamed daughter. King Janus of Cyprus married firstly Anglesia Visconti, secondly Charlotte de Bourbon-La Marche, by whom he had issue, including John II of Cyprus and Anne de Lusignan. Philip de Lusignan, Constable of Cyprus, died unmarried but had at least one illegitimate son, Lancelot de Lusignan. Henry de Lusignan, titular Prince of Galilee, married his cousin Eleanor de Lusignan. His marriage was childless, however. He had illegitimate issue. Eudes de Lusignan, titular Seneschal of Jerusalem, married his cousin, Loetia de Lusignan, died without issue. Hugh de Lusignan, Regent of Cyprus, Cardinal Archbishop of Nicosia. Guy de Lusignan, Constable of Cyprus, died unmarried, without issue. Jacques de Lusignan, unmarried and childless. Aschive de Lusignan, married Count Clavius von Asperg. Marie of Lusignan, married King Ladislaus of Naples, died childless. Agnes de Lusignan, Abbess of Wunstorf. Isabel de Lusignan, married Pierre de Lusignan, died childless. Ancestry.